So what is this then? Well, this is the all-new BMW iX2 xDrive 30, and it's not just another pretty face from BMW. This is an absolute technological marvel. In this video, we're going to go into depths and investigate what this car is really about, because the BMW iX2 is totally electric. Welcome to Totally Electric, where we test electric cars and talk about sustainable mobility. Today, we're going to do the electric exam of the BMW iX2 xDrive 30. The electric exam is our own proprietary format where we test 8 different categories that are important when you're buying an electric car. If you want to compare how this car has done in comparison to other cars that have gone through the electric exam, you can do so on our website. There'll be a link in the description below. So the BMW iX2 is actually the electric version of the X2. BMW has this flexible platform where you can either put a combustion engine in it or a hybrid version, or like in this, a fully electric vehicle. So this iX2 is 4 meters 55 long, 1.85 meter wide, and 1.56 meter tall. 1.56 meter tall is not that much for an SUV, and that is because this is a sports SUV that sort of sits low on the ground, drives like a sedan, and almost looks like one, right? Starting price for the iX2 in Spain is 51,000 euros, but that's for the iDrive 20 version with just one motor. This one is the xDrive 30. It's got motor on both axles, thus giving it 313 horsepower, same as 230 kilowatts. Accelerates from 0 to 100 kilometers now in just 5.6 seconds. Top speed is limited though at 180 kilometers per hour. I don't really care, it's fine. I'm not going to go that fast anyway. I'm not German. Even though I'm called Lars, go figure. Underneath, you'll find a battery of 66 kilowatt hours, but only 64.7 kilowatt hours usable. Let's try to stick to round numbers here, BMW. It's really confusing when you're trying to present all these numbers and there's commas on the kilowatt hours of battery capacity. So I'm just going to call it 65 kilowatt hours. You know, temperature and other such things will affect it anyway. So as I mentioned, the iDrive 20 starts at 51,000 euros. The xDrive 30 starts at 58,000, and the one you're seeing here with all the extra upgrades and paint and stuff, it's going to set you back around 65,000 euros. At least that's about what I think it's going to cost, because it all depends on how you configure it and what packages and extras are in there. It's a little bit confusing when you go on the website. There's a lot of stuff to choose from. I guess that's a benefit if you're a BMW fan, because you can, you know, make this your own personal car, completely different from all the other BMWs out there. Now, I really like this red paint job, so let's have a walk around and see what this car looks like. Talking about pretty faces on this car, look, we got the massive kidney here in the front. We got this big black block at the bottom. This looks like a snowplow, to be honest. We've got blue accents so that you can see that it is indeed the electric version of this car. And you got the air vents here on the sides, which are also accentuated with these big black blocks. Don't know about you, but I find that this design is too much. They're trying too hard to be aggressive. It looks like it was designed by somebody trying a little bit too hard. One positive thing though, on some BMW models with the kidney shape, you'll find the license plate in the middle of the kidney. Here you won't. Good. The funny thing is that when you do that, it looks like a beaver chewing on the license plate. At the bottom, you'll find active air vents. They'll close to improve aerodynamic drag, and they'll open when the internal components of the car needs refrigeration. That is good. So I don't know what you think about this design. I find it overly aggressive, though I do like that they're trying to be aggressive and not just boring. So I'm torn, guys. If you thought the front was aggressive, come round to the back and it's more of the same thing. We've got this huge thing down here, diffuser maybe, or just decoration, I'm not quite sure. We've got a big black spoiler up here. There's actually a camera hidden in here. This camera for parking and rear view has a little dimple on the side. This dimple is a washer. So if you get smudge on the camera, you can push a button inside and it washes off your camera. Very nice. Lines are super aggressive. So is the roof line down here, and does look very sporty. And you know what? I have to admit, I like this bit. I think it looks smashing. I think this is just like a transformer just before it transforms. It's the kind of aggressive things we do like from BMWs, right? Design right on the money. Like most modern BMWs, the key looks very nice and very classy, but honestly, you don't really need it because you can now link your BMW with your mobile phone. So when you're close by, the Bluetooth will connect to your car and you don't really need the key. Every Tesla owner in the world will tell you that that is the most comfortable thing in the world. And this here is an artifact of the past. You really don't need it, and it's just something that you run around in the morning looking for because you don't remember where you left it last night, and that's why you're going to be late. So yeah, just use your phone. Much better. Charge port is a rear right, and here's the thing I really like about this car. The charge port has these little clips that you can open for AC and for DC. If you close the one on the top, they will both close. I like this solution. I really dislike the ones where you've got like rubber things that you have to pull in, pluck, and they hang dangling down and yada, yada, yada. It seems like a small and unimportant point, but if you have to charge your car on a daily basis, these little details matter. So this car comes with 20-inch rims on it, but this being a BMW, of course you can choose between 5 or 10 different ones. I really like these ones. These are M designed, and they have a pearl effect in these black parts there. Very nice, very spacious. They give a lot of air to the car. These Pirelli P0 are extremely comfortable to drive with. Very silent. It feels like literally like you're floating on top of the asphalt. Now let's see if there's a frunk on this thing. There's a whole lot of space for it at least. So let's open it up. You've got to pull twice on a lever in there. That's never a good start. And plastic cover, but nothing underneath it. Well, I mean, there's stuff underneath it, like components and motor and cables and wires and stuff like that. But there's no frunk, no space for your smelly shoes. There's no button here in the back, and there's no kick sensor for opening this trunk. If we want to open it, we have to twist the logo like that. It opens up, and we've got 525 liters of available space. We can fold down the seats if we want to, sort of in a 60-40 configuration, but you can also, if you want to, just fold down the middle bit if you want to, you know, pass through some IKEA furniture or some skis or something like that. Now, there's one more thing I want to highlight about this car, and this is this absolutely beautiful paint job. This pearl red and black looks stunning here in the sunlight. I'm sure that this video does not do it justice. One of the best features about the exterior of this car, just the basic dimensions of it. Look, it's perfectly proportioned. The size of the wheels, the bonnet or the front, and the back, it just looks great. There's a harmony when you look at it. I'm gonna get out of the way so you can just admire this car. It looks absolutely great, almost from every angle. Oh, why haven't they tinted the rear windows? That would make it look even better. I guess you can do that at your local shop. Okay, so we're going to do the range test in the iX2 xDrive 30. Officially, this car's got 449 kilometers according to the WLTP standard, which is not bad because it's actually got quite a small battery, 64 kilowatt hours. You know, for an SUV and, you know, sporty and quite powerful car, that's not the biggest battery. So I'm going to go into this setting here where I can actually reset. I think it's, yeah, that's just where I do it. But reset the trip computer. It's horrendously complex. I have to like click on 7 things to get there. Before I could do it on, you know, some buttons here on the steering wheel, but that doesn't work anymore. There are no buttons actually to do just that. They took away one of the stalks. So anyway, I've got 94% battery right now. It took me, I spent 6% of the battery just to get here. So we're going to do highway test. Let's go. Electric cars are going to be the future. And if you want to be at the forefront and know what's going on, then I think that this is a good place for you to be. Hope you're enjoying this video. We release a video about a new car every single week. So if you'd like to follow along on that and see how electric mobility is changing the future of how we move around, then this is the channel for you. Yeah, you subscribed already? Thanks a lot. I've got 52% battery left now, so I'm going to turn around, I'm going to take this next exit and go back. Funny enough, according to the BMW system, I'm going to get back with 22%. So I've spent more than 40% energy going here, and I'm only going to use less than 30, 28 or something like that, in order to get back. That seems like a big difference. I'm not sure how much I trust this estimate from a BMW. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know if they're right or what. So yeah, let's see. I'm turning around here and going back. And if I do that, or maybe I'll get back there and have 22% battery, in which case I'm going to have to, don't know, drive some more. But I don't want to risk it. 52% battery seems like it's a good time to turn around. Yeah, so I didn't quite believe I was going to get back here with a 22% of battery, because for halfway through the route I spent 50 and I turned back, I should get closer to naught, right? However, the car's definitely smarter than I am. I'm at 24% battery now, and the charger's right here. How about that? The car knew that I was going to go a little bit more downhill going back, and it did the calculation right. Turns out, it's got the range that it predicted it had, so now I actually have to drive quite a lot further in order to double back and get back to the charger with less than 10%, because I want to do the charging test from less than 10% so we can get a good speed going. But yeah, very happily surprised with the prediction of the range at the destination for this car. It did it just right. So check this out. I'm now going to get there to at my destination with less than 10%, so the car has automatically found another charger en route where I can stop and get a little boost in order to get there, which is great. That's what you want. You want a system that integrates with your battery, and if circumstances change, it'll route you through another charger. So good job. I appreciate that, BMW. I'm not going to do what you say, because I do want to get there with very low state of charge, but I do appreciate the fact that you thought I wasn't going to be comfortable getting there with less than 10%, and you found me another charger. So yeah, ignoring, but appreciating. We're done with the test. We've driven for 2 hours and 28 minutes. We've done 277 kilometers, and we've spent, well, here it says 18.7, but it's actually 18.6 when I stopped. I've been stopped here for a few minutes just doing the calculations for all of this. Now, I've still got some battery left here, and I left with 94% on the battery. So if we add it all up and use math, then the total range for this car in the sunshine we've had today at 112 kilometers an hour on average, that's 70 miles per hour, is 333 kilometers. That's the same as 207 miles. So that's the total highway range available for this car. And I think, you know what, that's actually not too bad for a powerful dual motor BMW that's only got 65 kilowatt hours of usable battery. Yeah, that's pretty good. So now we're going to go and charge it and see how long time it takes us to charge up at a stop. Let's go do that. Okay, so I've just plugged in. I've used my phone app, Thunder phone app, to charge at this station. In fact, I could use my credit card. I can use an RFID. I can use a roaming card. I can use other apps as well. I love these stations because you can charge with pretty much, you know, any means of payment that you like. You can even do plug and charge. So this can do 360 kilowatts. The car, I believe, is around 128, but we'll see now because we get the reading out on the actual device here. We need to charge 200 kilometers. This car had an efficiency of 18.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So we're going to have to charge 37.2 kilowatt hours. How long time is that going to take us? Let's see. You know, 200 kilometers, that's a reasonable stop for a second leg of a journey. I said 128 kilowatts. It's charging at 126 now, so we're nearly there. I said it was going to charge at 128, and look at that. On the dot. There you go. 128 kilowatts. By the way, the charging port is rear right-hand side. For mainland Europe, I think that is the best location, because if you're parked curbside, then this is next to the sidewalk. Whereas if it was on the other side, you'd have the cable sticking out onto the road. Of course, if you're in the UK, it's still going to stick out on the road, right? That's not optimal, is it? The only bad thing about this is it's not perfect for the superchargers from Tesla. They are located on this other side here, so you'd have to park in this booth and use the one from the booth over. But hey, that is a Tesla problem, not a BMW problem, right? Okay, so inside the car, let's see. It'll tell us what speed we're charging at, current state of the battery, what the limit is, and how much time it's going to take us to reach the limit of charging. Of course, if we were to use the GPS system, it would tell us how much time we were going to have to stay here until we reached the enough charge for going to the next charging stop, not 100%. So this gives us really good information, solid, and yeah, just what you need to know really. All right, so we've actually now charged 18.6 kilowatt hours. That's exactly the same as what we need for 100 kilometers of range, or 62 miles, in just 9 minutes. Funny detail, I got an alert on my phone saying that I'd started charging the car. Good thing, because then I could also, you know, cool it down if it was too hot and so on. Still charging at 90 kilowatts. It's 40%. The car will charge at a maximum 128 kilowatts. So it's not exactly the fastest kilowatt charging car in the world. In fact, we've seen plenty of cars doing 250 or more, 270, or Porsche now does more than 300. So 128, you could say that's a little bit slow nowadays. Yeah, maybe BMW, you could do better. In fact, many BMWs charge at around 200 kilowatts. I believe that the big difference is the size of the battery. So this one has a relatively small battery, 64 kilowatt hours. It's not the biggest battery in the world for this charge. But then again, compare this with the Tesla Model 3 standard range, which has around 55 kilowatt hours and still charges at 170. It all comes down to the charging curve. How well does this maintain the charging speed throughout the charging session? That is what really will determine how much time are you going to have to spend charging. Okay, we've done it. 37 point, well, now it's 0.59. It goes past quite quickly. 21 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's how long time you need to charge 200 kilometers in the BMW iX2 xDrive 30. 21 minutes and 30 seconds. What do you think? Is that a reasonable time to stop for a, I don't know, quick snack and then go on for another 200 kilometers? I think so. Okay, we are done charging now. I need to go to visit the little boys' room in there, and then we're going to take this car and we're going to do some performance testing. Oh yeah. I have two gears for driving. I have D and B, so driving and braking, where braking will use the regenerative force of the motor to slow me down. Whenever I let go of the gas, it'll actually come to a full stop, which is what every single EV in the world should do. Now, this car, however, has more settings if you're in D, drive, where basically for most cars, they won't do any regenerative braking, but this car you can. You can set it to high, low, or medium, or even better, you can set it to adaptive. Adaptive means that it'll brake more depending on the conditions. So for example, if I'm close to the car in front of me, like here, and I let go of the accelerator, I can feel that the car is slowing down because it's going to use the adaptive regen. Now the car pulls away and it's going to do less regen. See? Brilliant system. Really works really well. It takes into account traffic ahead of you, but it also takes into account like you're coming up towards a stop sign or towards a roundabout. So it slows you down using the regenerative braking without it having the regenerative braking being always on when you are, like me now, going on the highway. Very clever. So now is the time to test this car's driving ability. Does it go like a BMW? Because if you buy a BMW xDrive car, you definitely want it to be fast. Officially, this car can do 0 to 100 in just 5.6 seconds. And I'm gonna use this here device. It's a Draggy to measure it. Connects to my phone and it will detect the speed of this thing down to 100th of a second. It uses high precision GPS, accelerometer, and other such stuff, and it'll give me a very precise time. Now, there's a magnet on it, so all I have to do is put this on top of the car, and then it connects to my phone, where I can actually see the data. I've put the car in sport. As you can see here, I've got 92% battery. Not quite full, but nearly. And there's one other trick here, because there's a boost lever here. So if I pull that, it's going to give me 10 seconds of extra power. So this is like launch control, but you can also use it if you want to just overtake somebody and not spend too much time in the opposite lane. So it's just going to give you a little bit of extra power. Let's see what it actually does. Let's go test this thing out. 0 to 100, 5.6 seconds. Can we do any better? Here's a funny little detail. The car has fake engine sounds. This is hilarious. And when you pull on the boost lever, it sort of sounds twice as loud. I don't know if it also goes twice as fast or if it's just twice as loud. Maybe the boost, it just boosts the sound. Anyway, here we are. We're out on the strip, so let's just get in place, come to a full stop. There you go. Then we reset the trackie, pull the boost, and 10, 9, we're off. Yeah, it sounds like we're going faster. I don't know if the boost actually gives you more energy, but it certainly boosts the sound. Oh look, I really enjoy this adaptive regen, because I was just coming up to a roundabout there and I hadn't slowed it just quite enough. And the car does it for me. Good stuff, good stuff. I have done the test now a few times. Let's see what the best results are. Okay, so official time for this car is 5.6 seconds, but I've done it in 5.3. This car is faster than advertised. 5.3 is a really good time. Yep, it feels snappy, feels just right for accelerating. Good job, BMW. This car floats. I don't know if it's the suspension or if it's the tires, but it's incredibly soft. So I still have the feeling that they're well connected to the asphalt, but speed is just something that I don't really notice. It just goes. I don't feel the potholes at all. I don't feel any of the uncomfortable details of the road. And the car just gains speed effortlessly. It just goes. It's also very twitchy in a good way. So if I put my foot down on the accelerator, it reacts immediately. It doesn't wait, change down a gear, whatever. Some electric cars feel like they do. Now this car just picks up and goes. It's lovely in that way. Really enjoy how this car drives. It also goes around corners very safely. There is a bit of body roll though, I gotta admit that. But hey, I guess it is an SUV, but it's still well controlled, no problem there. Yeah, very nice car to drive. So when you're driving on these windy Spanish mountain roads, then this is absolutely a fantastic car. It's a lot of fun. You just throw it around the corners and the four-wheel traction will get you out of trouble anytime. Now check this out. Here's a bump. I'm gonna take it a little bit faster than what I should have had, right? That was 45 kilometers now. I should have done that at like 20, right? Even so, the suspension didn't overstress. It didn't compress too much. It worked just well. Inside the BMW iX2, we have very nice materials. They look very, very sophisticated. And the funny thing is there's so many different ones. Here we've got some lines on top of some aluminum look-alike plastic. Here we got, I don't know what those are, diamond shapes. Here we have false leather. Here we've got fake leather with holes in them just so that the seats are a little bit more ventilated. We've got sort of some lines going on over on the speakers. We've got this kind of leather, this kind of leather. It's all a big mishmash, but it works. It looks really good. It looks really sophisticated. Very, very nice. In fact, this car by default comes with cloth seats, but these leather imitation seats, that's another extra for you. By the way, I really do appreciate and I do like this glass roof here. It's only half open now, just not to let too much sun in. I can open it further if I want to here, if it's just too hot today, so I don't really want to do that. I'll leave it like that, at least a little bit less sunlight coming in through there. So I've got some buttons here in the middle just to control some of the basic stuff for the car. I've got some buttons for my windows on the left. Then I have seat positions on top of the speaker here on the left hand side. Speaker system, by the way, by Hammer Carden. Works really nice. Some lights, and then I've got buttons here on the steering wheel on the left hand side for the cruise control and ADAS systems. On the right hand side, sort of a mishmash for controlling the screen I have behind the steering wheel. I also have this boost button, yeah, so that it makes more noise and goes faster. Sure, we want that. In the middle bit, I've got a place to store my phone. It's sort of put it there and then you pinch it and then it's in a place where it gets charged wirelessly. I've got two cup holders I've got for gear selection, drive modes, etc. here in the middle. And then I have the absolute smallest glove compartment or middle, what do you call this, armrest compartment in the world. I can open it and I can't fit anything in here. Got my wallet, right? Tiny wallet, by the way, not a rich man. My keys, 3 little keys. My AirPods in there. And now I can't close. That's how small it is. Ridiculous. At least there's some extra space down below, and I guess that's good, but I don't like having too much stuff loose inside the cabin. Also, I can get to this place quite easily, and I can get to this place quite easily. But if you're sitting over there, this one is blocking your view of what's actually available inside. And here, there's a little bar there to stop you from, I don't know, accessing it. So yeah, space is a little bit tight in here. I don't have a ton of space above my head either. I fit. I mean, I'm 1.90 m or 6'4", so it's okay, but it's a bit snug. Now, not only do the materials look quite sophisticated with all these diverse patterns and colors and lines and stuff, they're also very well fitted. There's no squeaks or anything like that inside this car. I guess I can't even make it squeak if I push on it and pull on it. It's just, you know, typical things that people do in these videos, isn't it? So I got a heads-up display, I got a secondary screen behind the steering wheel, I got the main screen in the middle. Now almost everything you do in this car is going to happen in this screen here in the middle because there's so much stuff, there's so much. But we're going to talk about technology in a different segment in this video. Now, if it's stuck in the front, I wonder if I'll fit in the back. Let's see how well I fit in here behind myself. The seat is adjusted to my driving position. I'm 1.90 m, 6'4", as I mentioned before, and knees don't fit. Head doesn't really fit, and this door is actually quite wide and it comes quite far into the seat here, so I don't really fit in here in the back. I mean, if you have a kid that's abnormally large like me, then yeah, sure, it's an issue, but maybe it won't be otherwise. Materials as well are nice back here. If I want to complain about something else, it's that this glass roof doesn't go all the way back here. It's only the front bit here, so it doesn't really help all that much here in the back. Also, the floor is quite elevated, so as you can see, my knees are up, they're not touching the actual bench. The transmission tunnel in the middle here is not as big as on other cars like the i4, for example. So there's some space lost here, but not too much, meaning that this could be used for 5 people, at least for relatively short trips, whereas the i4, for example, is in effect reduced to only 4 seats, or at least the 5th seat has to have a leg on each side of the transmission tunnel. Here we don't have that problem, so I guess that's good. So I guess I could travel here if I could scoot down a little bit, but it's not ideal. I've turned off the aircon and ventilators, everything is quite silent in here now, but this funny engine noise, artificial engine noise, listen to this. That reminds me of when Thanos is using the gauntlet of infinity. Now if you put it in boost, it's even louder. How funny is that? How funny is that? Oh, they made an extra sound. Oh, that's so hilarious. Let's make it louder, because when it's louder, it's faster somehow. I want to ask, if you have an electric car that is capable of emitting an artificial engine noise, do you actually leave that on, or do you get so annoyed with it you turn it off after a short while? I always turn it off, but maybe it's just me. I can change the interior ambient lighting. So, for example, I can change the color. If I put it into personal on the My mode and then go back, I can now change the color. Gosh, why do you make it so complicated, BMW? Yes, now it's on a personal setting on my modes. I can change it so I got yellow interior lighting, it's sort of LED around the screen, and down here with my phone charger. If I now put it, let me just change it to blue so you can see the difference. Looks very nice indeed. If I then go into my modes and I don't have it on the personal one, put it in sport, It's all red and aggressive. And then I put it into efficient, and it's all blue or green or turquoise or one of these colors that us guys can't quite distinguish. So yeah, it looks really nice. And I like how it also illuminates down here or puts some light down on the phone charger. So for this car, a lot of stuff happens here on the main screen. I do, however, also have a heads-up display and a secondary screen here. I can control the heads-up display and the secondary screen with buttons on my steering wheel and put the kind of information I want up there. Typically, I'd have something about my speed, my navigation, and maybe even the driver assistance features that are activated up on the heads-up display, because that's what I need to look at without being distracted from everything else that's going on. The screen here behind the steering wheel is also clear. Some of the information that I have up on the heads-up display is duplicated down there. I guess it's, if you prefer it that way, you can customize it whichever way you like. You can do that with a button here on the steering wheel, and then you can select which content you want to be here and what kind of layout you want it to have. But most of the magic happens here on the main screen. This here is the default in BMW maps, and they are great. Here's a little video of how they use augmented reality to show you where you got to go. Look, I've got augmented reality on my navigation screen. It's going to put arrows showing me where to turn. Look, there's arrow. I need to go this way. This is a fantastic piece of technology. Really, really helps you out when you're driving around in a place or in a neighborhood where you're unfamiliar with and you're not quite sure, because there can be so many lanes and so many different ways to do a turn. But this one will keep you in the right lane. Look, it says I'm in the lane I'm supposed to be. And now coming up on a roundabout, and it tells me I'm going to take the second exit, but it's also going to help me with the arrows on screen. Really, really nice. I can also see similar information, not with overlays though, on the screen in front of me on the heads-up display. There you go. How about that? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, if I want more stuff, I can, of course, just wirelessly connect my phone for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and leave it down there in the charging bay, and everything is fine. But I also have a ton of inbuilt applications here. Now, there are so many that they have to group them by all, infotainment, vehicle, or the latest used. So in here I have all of them, as you can see. Many of the icons look the same. The color scheme is very much similar in some of them. So it can be a little bit difficult to, at a glance, figure out which one it is you want to use. It's also linked to your BMW ID. So there's my face. That's my ID. It links to my phone. I can control stuff from my phone. I can precondition the inside of the car so it's not too hot. I can lock it, unlock it, and other such things. I can also control the charging, by the way. Now, I'm going to go just for the infotainment because there's too many. This is connected drive store, but that's basically to subscribe you to some of the annual features that you have. So you have your drive recorder and equipment something, which is an annual fee that you pay for, and then it all works. The drive recorder, by the way, is this very, very nice feature where you can record stuff that goes on all around your car. So I've recorded this just now where nothing's going on, but I can see 4 cameras outside the car. Very nice. You can even set it so that automatically it's going to record when there's an accident. Very nice. That's really useful if you have to take your claim to an insurance company. There's also an interior camera. It sits right up here. So the angle on it is extremely wide. It goes all the way up here, and I can see the seats in the back very, very clearly as well back there. So if I have badly behaving kids, I don't need to turn my head. If I go into vehicle, I have some interesting things as well. I have massaging seats in this one. Yeah. So I can set the massage to 4 different kinds. I've got activation, recovery, strength, or stimulation. Let's do some stimulation right now. Right, so it's giving me a massage. It's not the most aggressive of massages, but I guess I just want stimulation. Both the driver's seat and the co-pilot seat are massaging seats. I also can use this car as a Wi-Fi hotspot. So if I don't want to use the internet connecting on, I don't know, maybe I have a kid's tablet or something in the back, then they can use the car, which is always good. So generally speaking, this is a very interesting system. Now, there are a couple of different kinds of systems out there. Like Android Automotive. Android Automotive is what's used in Renault and Polestar, Volvo, for example. It's a very solid system and uses all of the Google technology. Then you have some of the, maybe Asian companies that use just an Android and then they put their own layer on top of it. For example, BYD does that. And then you have companies like BMW or Tesla that do their very own system from ground up. The benefit of that is that it's absolutely perfectly adapted to the car. The disadvantage is that maybe the people who designed this aren't the best at designing user interfaces. So there's a lot of stuff where you'll find menus and buttons that are sort of thrown at the screen in places you don't always expect them to be. Now this is of course a big problem for somebody like me. I've got this car for a week and then I have to take it back. If you own the car, I'm sure you'll find your way around it quite easily. So overall, this is a top-notch tech packet. Got loads of functionality. I haven't even covered half of it in here. But what we really need to do now is drive the car, because I want to show you how this car parks itself. This car is equipped with Driving Assistance Professional. That is the top of the line from BMW. And I gotta say, this is the best system you can get. At least it's the best system you can get in Europe, where we only have level 2 driving assistance systems. Yes, I know, Mercedes and even BMW has got some that can do level 3 driving on highways in very, very specific and limited conditions. Not really interested in those. They're more like experiments than actual useful features for the driver. This system here, however, is super useful. It can change the lane for me. I've just indicated and it's going to change the lane for me. It shows me very clearly on the heads-up display what it's going to do. It'll stay in the lane. It'll keep the right speed. The interface is easy to understand. I don't have 400 buttons to control 5 features. Just got 3 buttons and a little knob up and down for speed, basically. It also adapts very well to the driving conditions. There's a setting in here when I can choose how aggressive do I want it to take a corner. So imagine you come up to a place, you're doing 100 kilometers now, and that's the maximum allowed speed, but there's a sharp corner. You can choose whether it should go down in speed to 60, 70, 80 or so, or if you just wanted to go through it at higher speeds. It's really, really useful. Since it's limited by law how much lateral force a driving assistance system can exercise on a car here in Europe, this really matters. Because you can't just barrel through a corner at 200 kilometers an hour and go around it, because the centrifugal force would be too strong and would go above the legal limit allowed for the system to control. So this car will automatically adapt to that, lower the speed. Others, they'll just go straight through a corner and you have to get it out of trouble. In fact, that is the most common behavior for most of these systems here. Now the steering wheel is capacitive, meaning I don't have to hog it and turn it in order for the car to know that I'm paying attention. As long as I just caress it ever so slightly, it knows I'm here and that I'm paying attention to it. So this makes it much more comfortable because I don't have to actually sit and turn it actively like you have to do in some other systems in order for merely to know that you're actually there. As long as you just have a little bit of, not even pressure, but contact with the steering wheel, it knows you're there and it knows that you're attentive. And finally, it's collaborative. It's not just either it's driving or I'm driving. You can use it as a collaborative system. So now I'm going around a corner. Imagine I want to hug the inner lane a bit. Maybe there's a car too close to me on the right-hand side lane. So you can actually adjust it slightly inside the lane and the system's still on. It's still doing it. But if I prefer to take the outside lane, for example, if there was a pothole, I can do that without the system turning off. Wonderful system. Think it's the best on the market. Not so much maybe because it's got a million features, but because it's just quality. It just does everything it does really, really well. If I have a destination put in the GPS system here and an exit is coming up that I have to take, it'll slow down, it'll put me in the right lane and it'll alert me to it. So the GPS works together with the driver assistance feature. Something that they have on Tesla as well called Navigate on Autopilot. Well, this does it too. This does everything the Tesla does and a few things that the Tesla doesn't. Sorry for putting on my sunglasses, but the sun is just blazing right now. Let's see how well this car parks, right? So as you can see in front of me, oh, there are 2 cars here parked, and there's a space between them. It's not a massive space, but it should do. So up here, it suggests where it can park. So yeah, it actually found the spot. Let's see. Now, I can see on the screen that it's actually marked this as the parking spot. It's saying that I should observe my surroundings and then take my foot off the brake. Come on, BMW, let's see how well you do this. I can't see anything because of the sun. Probably shouldn't say that on camera. If I ding the car now, oh my God, it's really fast. Oh, okay. It moves really quickly and it stops very, very close to the car in front of me and the car behind me. Well, closer to the car behind me. Okay, that looked like a marvelous parking job. It did it really quickly, like as quick or quicker than what a person would. Let's see how well it did. So it is perfectly in between the 2 cars. Distance in front and in back is just perfect. And as you can see, it's parked really close to the curb as well. So perfect parking job. It's even better than the one behind him and even better than this little Peugeot. So that's really, really good. It did it quickly. It's done it reliably. I've done it now a few times and it hasn't failed me yet. Now, not only will this car park, it will also unpark. So let's see how it does that. Putting on your seatbelt, turning on the car, and if we push this parking button down here, it'll suggest to start unparking. I'll do that. Foot off my brake. No traffic anywhere. Again, it's very close to the car behind me, but come on, a little bit more. Oh, that's it. So we're just going to stay here like halfway out in the middle of the road. I guess I have to drive now. Oh, well, anyway, parking, great. Unparking, so-so, but, you know, not the biggest thing in the world. Here are the scores. Remember, we have 8 categories, each scored from 0 to 10. We add them all up, weighted by their importance to get a final score out of 100. You can check out all the scores on our website, linked below in the description. Traveling. Despite its size, the car is surprisingly efficient, consuming 18.6 kilowatt hours on our highway test, which gives it a real-world range of 333 kilometers. It's a shame they didn't include a higher capacity battery, because that would make a fantastic option for long-distance trips. It gets 6 points for range and efficiency. Charging. Charging 200 kilometers takes 21.5 minutes with a maximum speed of 124 kilowatts. This is a reasonable time, although not class-leading. Charging is well managed with adjustable AC speed, route planning, scheduled charging, and excellent on-screen information during charging sessions. However, it lacks options for bidirectional charging. It scores 7.5 points for charging. Driving. This car is a joy to drive on the road. It accelerates from 0 to 100 in 5.3 seconds, has strong and adjustable regenerative braking, excellent comfort, a quiet cabin, and responsive pedals and steering. We give it 8 points for driving experience. Interior. The iX2 offers good space in the front, but it's somewhat cramped in the rear. Materials and perceived quality are excellent, with first-rate craftsmanship throughout. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a frunk, but it compensates with a generous 525-litre rear trunk. It scores 8.5 points for the interior. Exterior. The design is classic BMW, beautiful, sporty, and with near-perfect proportion. Feels spacious inside without being oversized on the outside. It's practical with 5 doors and offers options for a tow bar. Overall, it earns 9 points for the exterior. Technology. The BMW's iDrive system is packed with features. It's absolutely amazing, but its interface can feel a bit confusing. It benefits from good connectivity, voice assistance, and of course, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. We give it 9 points for technology. Driver assistance systems. BMW has one of the most robust and feature-rich driver assistance systems on the market. It easily detects the driver, stays well within the lane markings, dynamically adjusts speed based on signs and road condition, and it even parks itself. In this category, it scores an impressive 9 points as well. Price. And I'm referring to the market price in Spain where we tested the car. The starting price for the BMW iX2 is 51,000, but the version we tested goes all the way up to 65,000 euros with all the extras included. When compared to other electric SUVs between 4.5 and 4.7 meters in length, with more than 300 horsepower and similar long-distance capabilities, there are few more affordable options. For example, the Volkswagen ID.5 GTX starts at 57,515, and the Nissan Ariya Evolve starts at 56,900. Most competitors are more expensive, however, such as the Audi Q4 Sportback e-tron, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive, or even the new Cupra Tavascan. So the BMW falls into the mid to lower price range compared to the competition, earning its 6 points in this category. Considering the weighting of each category, the final score for the electro exam for the BMW iX2 eDrive 30 is 75 out of 100 points. Again, if you would like to compare this with other cars we've tested, you can do so visiting our website linked below. So that is the BMW iX2 xDrive 30, a car I really like because of the design, the tech, and the driving experience. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll put a link up here to a direct competitor to the BMW. You might want to go check that out as well.